I've got the all-new Toyota Land Cruiser right behind me. Let's take it on the highway and see how this thing feels on the road, because I want to talk about the driving character of this TNGA-F platform body-on-frame SUV. Let's go. Okay everyone, so now I am driving the new Land Cruiser on a highway, but through very twisty corners and twisty turns. So lots of winding road here. And so it's a really good test of whether or not this new Land Cruiser can handle the kind of twisty turns that normally would be best suited for crossover type SUV. This is very much a body-on-frame truck-based SUV, so it would do very well on actual off-road courses, but sometimes they tend to struggle at highway speed. But so far, it's pretty stable based on my drive so far, that it is handling these very aggressive turns quite well. Like, it's pretty stable. I'm not losing composure, and I don't know that I could go much faster than what I'm doing now, but so far it's pretty good. And definitely compared to something like the 5th gen 4Runner, this is much better. The older Toyota SUVs, body-on-frame SUVs, they were terrible on corners. You just lose so much composure that it's almost scary to drive them at highway speed if you got some twisty corners and twisty turns. But this one, wow, it's smooth, it's predictable, balanced, good ride, and most of all, very confident in terms of the feel on the road. I can drive at a pretty steady pace, and it's taking corners very well. As I've said before with the Lexus GX 550, which is very similar model to this one, the steering is light and not very communicative, but according to chief engineer, that's intentional. They didn't want to make the steering too heavy, because then people have to kind of fight it, especially if they're driving long distances. And so they intentionally made the steering lighter, more accessible to kind of everyday drivers who really don't want heavy steering. Of course, this is not hydraulic power steering, it's electric power steering, and therefore it's also very difficult to have that sensation of road feedback, just because the mechanism used for electric power steering is not the same as the old hydraulic power steering. But the steering is pretty accurate. It feels quite natural, and compared to other body-on-frame vehicles, like maybe even compared to Sequoia, this one definitely feels much better around these roads. I think it's comfortable, confident, quiet, although I do hear some wind noise because of perhaps the large rear view mirrors on the driver and passenger side. They do create a bit of a wind noise, but acceptable. Otherwise, you sit nice and tall, so the view up front is excellent. I can see very clearly what's in front of me, and that makes it easier to drive as well. You feel confident because you're sitting up nice and tall. And perhaps that's one of the big difference between body-on-frame SUVs like this one compared to crossovers and unitized body SUVs, where you're sitting much lower because of the fact that unitized bodies don't have a frame underneath. So as an engineer, am I happy with the basic drivability of this vehicle? Well, first of all, back to when I was driving this on the off-road courses, there's no question nothing comes close. These TNGA-F platform vehicles do so well on a very severe off-road courses, but especially the Land Cruiser, and I would expect the same for the 4Runner as well. But it's astonishing good on those off-road courses. So I would say the off-road capability is absolutely superb, world-class for a Land Cruiser, as you would expect, and I've done a separate video for that. But even on the highway drive, it's actually very well done, very smooth and refined, and I'm actually pretty impressed with it. But of course, this is most comfortable when the asphalt is gone and you're driving through some off-road courses and some rough terrains. That's when this thing obviously shines. So that's my quick take on how the Land Cruiser feels on the road. I do like it a lot. I wish the steering was a little bit heavier and would provide a little bit more feedback, but you know, all SUVs are like that now. So let's wait and see how this performs against many other SUVs once I get it in my hometown. Until then, I'm signing off for now.